Right now, though, it is time to talk with Jerry Jones, brought to you by Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Jerry, how we doing today?
Hey, Kevin, Corey, and everybody else on there. Sorry. But listen, that's a good idea. We ought to get that bus, or buses. We ought to get that bus and meet up someplace. And the bus would be honored to have you proper gentry on that bus doing a broadcast out of there. And we can check a box of things we've done on the bus.
Oh, man, there's a lot of things that I've thought about doing on that bus. Oh, obviously, talking with you, Jerry, would be one of them. Jerry, today we are right down the street from AT&T Stadium at Taco Bueno, the official taco of the Dallas Cowboys. Since it's so close to the stadium, do you swing through this Taco Bueno before or after the games?
Well, I do, and of course, one of the biggest customers they have, generally speaking, over the Metroplex. But obviously, we're proud of our relationship association. You know, they're an example. When you touch these brands, Salvation Army, or you touch these brands, it just lifts you. Mm-hmm. And the more you can touch the quality brand of anything, then the more it lifts you. Ford, you know, is almost like a founding father of the country to be associated with them. So I'm a big believer that in touching and in really, if you will, being an advocate for the service or product is a way to expand the interest in the Cowboys.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense there.
Now, we've got kind of a divide and conquer strategy here today as I'm in Las Vegas getting ready for the Terrence Crawford-Canelo Alvarez fight. I know Canelo has fought at AT&T Stadium.
Absolutely.
What kind of a business person is he, in addition to what kind of fighter he is?
Well, he's outstanding. We've had him there at least on 2, possibly 3 occasions, but I know him. And he's a real credit to sports in general. But boy, is he a sound individual, and the way he's approached his career, and the way he's sustained his ability to compete, and then he's done it at a period of time when really you might say he's been a substantive part of maintaining boxing's profile, and I can't say enough about him. And, boy, if we ever can get him back with a big fight at AT&T Stadium, the last time he fought out there, about 30 minutes before the fight, he came down from the upper deck, and he was out in the stadium. And if my memory serves me well, he was riding some type of lift as he came down. This is before the fight.
Wow.
And, boy, I admire that. I really admire not only his attention and his interest in having the entertainment associated with it, but how he mixes in the reality of being maybe arguably the world's greatest fighter.
Now, as long as we're talking about sports figures and admiration, did you hear the Green Bay fans last night chanting, "Thank you, Jerry," after the Thursday night football game?
Well, I'll tell you, the way they're playing, the way Green Bay is playing, then I'm all for them enjoying and chanting anything that they really want to play. And I understand that. You know, this is such a laydown to me with back when we traded Herschel Walker. And I just can't tell you the kinds of really not criticism, but naysay when we took what arguably then was by many the best player in the NFL. And we got, of course, future picks, got players and future picks at the same time. And so if you make a move on a top player, this shouldn't surprise anybody that we would have that kind of reaction from their fan base, the other team's fan base, or for that matter, our fan base in general. And I knew this was coming almost the day I walked into training camp. I knew that if I got to make this trade, that this would be there and coming.
Now, you talk about those parallels between the Herschel Walker deal, and that is fascinating to me, but that also came at a time when the franchise was needing to rebuild. Do you see that as a parallel with this team at all?
Well, I see an allocation. I see more of an allocation here. We want to take the resources, of course, being the room under the salary cap. Now, I'm going to talk elementary. I apologize to everybody living. But we all know that whatever one player gets, the others don't get, because there's a pool of dollars. And so you've got to divide it up very carefully. And that is the art of the deal. So this, as opposed to Herschel Walker, which was to basically get draft picks and was basically a recognition that we will compete on another day. This was not that. This was a very conscious trade to get 3, 4, 5, 6 players for one. Which were we better off? The one player, outstanding. He's an outstanding player. But we should be able to get, as a matter of fact, we've got one on the field. And, of course, people say, but he's no Micah. Well, I'm not going to debate that at all, because Micah is very, very special. But I'll tell you this right now. By the time this happens, and as we look forward to Dak's time when we made his contract, and we look forward, this was the best way to maximize our chance to get a Super Bowl for Dak.
Talk with Jerry Jones right here on 105.3 The Fan. Like, I know you were kind of talking about at the beginning of training camp, you knew if a deal had to happen in terms of a trade, some people would be very upset. How far back did any, like, internal discussions happen with the idea of, you know what, we might have to trade Micah?
Well, not have to trade. That's not the right term. How with a player of that stature and of that, if you will, color in terms of his romance, what he might be able to bring. Everybody's looking for the guy that could absolutely singly make the defense. Everybody wants that guy. And now we had him for 4 years. And you see what we did for 4 years. And so my point is, one guy doesn't do it. Now, the closest thing there is for one guy to make that much difference is a quarterback. When you start going from there, then, man, you've got to really look at allocating $100 million, $200 million, and allocating that over many players and positions. That's exactly what I did.
Jerry, regarding last night's game specifically, and we had this conversation yesterday, and I'm sure you know, Utolo. What is more important to you and the organization, having Green Bay lose more games to up the value of those picks, or having division rivals lose?
Well, I don't think this thing will rise and fall with a pick, which you'd be talking about this year's number one of Green Bay's.
Yeah.
I don't really think it rises and falls. We're going to be getting players in the top 30 players. We've got 2 years of getting Green Bay's top 30 player. And that should do some damage for us. And then we add that to the picks we're going to have anyway, and that should do some damage. Now, by the way, in between that time, there are 31 teams in this, 30 other teams other than the Cowboys playing without Micah right tonight. I mean, this weekend or this week. And so, there's ways to play defense and scheme that don't necessarily involve on any player, whether it be Deion Sanders looking way back or who it is. A lot of people won a lot of games and didn't have Deion Sanders on the field for them. How'd that happen? Well, that's called you've got to have about 40-something, minimum 40-something players to play this game. And so between being available with a nick or an injury, plus at the same time just availability from the numbers of snaps in a game, you can't go out there and rush the passer for 60 plays a game at all. But my point is, all of this weighs into the consideration, and it was so much thought out over the last months that we needed an opportunity to see if our trade was there.
Jerry, the yesterday we saw Jadeveon Clowney was coming through. We heard the conversation about that. Steven said that hey, it was an opportunity to get to know him a little bit and him get to know you guys a little bit. The word was that you guys wanted to sign him and he wanted to wait to sign. Do you have an idea that maybe you would want to sign him down the road? And you don't think that maybe you could have those kind of players come through if you did have the Micah deal because that money would already be allocated, right?
You said it.
Yeah.
You said it, and I agree with just how you phrased it. I had a chance to visit with his mother. He got her on the phone while I was visiting with him. And she should be proud of him, and they are proud of him, and he's a heck of a football player. But you're absolutely right. Those are the kinds of things that you can do that, by the way, has been successful in the NFL. That's not unorthodox thinking. Is to now you can step out there and get you two guys. Well, those two guys, they can go out there and take 12 or 13 snaps apiece if you got two of them, and they don't get as winded. They don't get as tired. And now you say, well, you're completely forgetting the differentiation between a talent level and, if you will, a rare talent level.
Yeah.
The more people you have on the field in a sport, the less the rare talent level of any one of them counts. The more people, and we have to have, what, will you give me 22? Certainly 11. And 22 out there at a time. So you can move around. People used to move around from Deion Sanders. Now, a lot of coaches will say it's the moving around from them that creates the impact because you've got to adjust what you're doing with your offense. I thought you coaches were adjusting what you're doing with your offense every time you went out. I'm sorry.
Jerry, when you suffer the loss of Deron Bland for at least this week, are you kind of expecting Trayvon Diggs to step up and increase his snap count, or do you have to kind of stay calm and keep him on his little ramp-up track that he's been on?
Well, I think it's, frankly, if we need him to have a few more reps to get this game, then I'm sure we'll give him a few more reps. So it'll just be a balance. There certainly has been added a influence to the numbers of snaps the rest of these D-backs will get, Deron not being out there. But, again, that's just boy, you plan on that back in the spring. You know this is going to happen to you.
Does that frustrate you that like when you just signed a guy that he gets injured, or is that just part of this business?
No, I spoke to that when we were at training camp, and I said, just because we signed him doesn't mean you're going to have him.
Right.
And, of course, that happened to us last year with Dak. And then here you are with Bland. And so you have to watch thinking that your name across a piece of paper is going to absolutely mean free bubbly up and rainbow stew for the rest of your life. It doesn't mean that.
Talk with Jerry Jones right here on 105.3 The Fan. Now, this Sunday, Cowboys-Giants, it is outside of a divisional game. It is a historic game, the 1,000th regular season game of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, a lot of people have put out articles and such about, the greatest Cowboys of all time. I know you've seen a ton of them. Do you have a singular pick for the greatest Dallas Cowboys player in franchise history?
I do. I would have to say Roger Staubach because of the impetus. I mean, not impetus, but the impact that he's had on the franchise as time has gone along, as well as his playing days. Our Ring of Honor is not supposed to be about the one that threw the most touchdowns or one that made the most tackles. It's supposed to be about who has lifted the franchise to another level in their own way. So I would say that Roger certainly holds that in my eyes. And I'll never forget, I came down here. It was a rainy day, and Bum Bright fixed me up with a place to sit in his suite. To the first time I looked at the Cowboys, after in my mind I thought I might be interested in getting involved. And he had Roger sitting with me in that suite. And basically, we were playing the Giants. Parcells was over on one sideline. Coach Landry was on the other. I had a good visit with Roger. Times were tough in Dallas then. I mean, real tough. Banks were going broke. It was quite a time. Well, about the fourth quarter, it was rainy, and boy, that crowd had really gotten down. I don't believe there were 6,000 people here because it started off with about 20. And I decided I would go down, and I went on a bleacher type. And I sat on a bleacher, and that old rain was kind of drizzling down. And in the seats, there were beer cans and whiskey bottles because you couldn't sell any alcohol at old Texas Stadium then. You brought it in coolers. Mm-hmm. And there were all those hundreds of beer cans and whiskey bottles, rain coming down, nobody in the stand, and Parcells whipping our butt. And I said, now, can you live with this after you've given all your money? And you're in trouble. Can you live with this? And I sat there and took that old rain. I got up, said, put me in, Coach. I can. Let's go.
Jerry, multiple times in the last year, you've discussed working with your family. We saw it in the documentary on Netflix. As a dad of 3 myself, it would be a dream to be able to provide for them with like the security and be around them and have them that close to me working. Has it always been easy to be a dad and work with your family at the same time?
No, not at all. You can imagine. You have the same kinds of disagreements, the same kinds of differences of opinion. Just for one, look at our age difference. But something happens when you burn your ships. So that deal about making a landing on another continent and burning all the ships so your soldiers couldn't even think about going home. There's something happens with your family because there's nothing but corrections and let's do it different there. There's no burning your ships and saying, let's split, let's go. But the best way that I feel about it sums it up. I'm going to paraphrase a father's prayer. Yeah. And the father was praying, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but he basically said, Lord, don't let me be a bully because I can be, because they love me and I'm their dad. Don't let me be a bully.
I like that a lot.
That's the kind of deference, I think, and I know they've got it over on the other side. Can you imagine being one of my 3 children and sitting there over the years and working with me through things? Well, they've done it, and most of the ideas that I do get credit for that have turned out good were theirs, and they executed them. So this has been a smart move as well as a move that I'm proud of. I wouldn't take anything for having spent all these years with them like this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And before we let you go, last one for you, Jerry. Is there any one of the Giants that you want Dak to provoke to get ejected before the game this week?
Oh, boy. Man, I'll tell you this. I like to have dropped my teeth when I started seeing him walk off because he's such a fabulous football player. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I guess the man up there is evening up. We don't have Micah. They're letting us have him. Let's even this thing up. I'll tell you, I had dreams of if we could have stepped up there and beat that world champion that opening game. That's the kind of thing that you never forget, ever. I am proud of the way we played, but we all know that doesn't get the job done.
Right.
But I'm sure am encouraged by what I saw.
Well, thanks a lot, Jerry. Good luck on Sunday, and we will get back with you next Friday, good sir.
Okay, great. Sure enjoy it. Thank you, guys.